What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with another lucky dip. And we're back with another one from Shafic's collection. Big shout out to you. And this one is from 2021, so much more recently. And it's by Groenalund. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but that would be my phonetic expectation based on the way it's spelled. It sounds like a Scandinavian word, so perhaps there's something to that. Nevertheless, the tune is called Just Like That. So it's the kind of phrase that you would use to suggest that whatever causal sequence is at play is less elaborate, less complicated, less lengthy than one might expect. It's like, wait, just like that? Like they just did that thing? They just got together just like that? Suggesting that maybe there would more likely or more commonly be a greater series of intervening events or processes. So yes, it suggests an accelerated timeline for whatever has happened. Now, of course, it might be used differently, but when I've heard that expression, that tends to be the essence of the meaning. So I'll see what I can catch on the first listen. This is, I think, Groenalund, and the tune is Just Like That.
Until that day, my life had been a river
one of the first things I have to comment on is the fluttering melodies. Like, there's some different melodic lines, and I think most of them are keyboard. Like, maybe there's a guitar in there, but I think most of the melody we hear is done by different keyboard lines or kits. And there are multiple melodies that have this fluttering, shimmering type of vibration. They're like dynamic. It's not like, chord, heavy chord, or even light, like tapping individual notes. It's like these fluttery melodic lines which have this like resonance or vibration. So I definitely enjoyed that. Sonically overall, it does really sound it like if you took a 70s ABBA tune and then brought it into the current decade with, in terms of having a bit crisper of a production sound relative to the evolution of hardware and, recording, like mastering techniques and so on. So it sounds more modern, but in its stylings, it felt very much like a 70s ABBA kind of tune, which maybe is in part because of the female lead vocals, but just in terms of the, like, light and sort of fun sonic atmosphere, I made that connection. So, thirdly, the narrative is very sweet, if also, what's the right word? Like, self-aware. Like, she's saying this guy came into her life just like that, and kind of came out of nowhere, had a handsome smile, had a good look, he was smart, he had good style, and he just kind of waltzed his way into her house and sort of took up residence in her flat. Presumably they had a, passionate, but it sounds like short relationship. And in the end, she came to realize that, like, he was telling her things maybe that she wanted to hear or that would make him look good or sound good. Innocent lies, which, it sounds like he was presenting a side or a character that was not fully reflective of who he was, and maybe the idea of throwing dust in her eyes is, again, he sort of like charmed her with his words, which weren't entirely true, blinded her to what he was actually doing, which was maybe just, he wanted to have fun for a little while, he wanted to have, a roll or two in the hay and, a springtime, if you will, and then he was out the door, just like that. He was gone, he was on his own way. And she's saying, like, now she doesn't really regret it. He gave her something that she actually wanted, something that maybe she was missing. And, he's like the only guy who's kind of this rolling stone. Rolling stone gathers no moss. They just keep on moving, keep on going, and they don't become sedentary. And so she's ultimately saying, again, she doesn't regret it, and it was actually kind of enjoyable, even if she knows he sort of pulled the wool over her eyes. But she's also saying every once in a while, just occasionally, she wonders where he is, what he's doing, who he might be with now. So there is a bit of a like, maybe it could have gone differently, or, maybe it would be nice if I could still see him sometime. So I think there's like a bit of, not melancholy, certainly not heartbreak, but there's a bit of an emotional twinge, even if she's saying like her tears have dried, she's not upset like she was when suddenly, just like that, he was gone just as quickly as he had come, and just as quickly as he had snatched her heart away. So, yeah, it's a song of infatuation and a, like, quickly arising relationship. Her heart was taken very quickly, then he left with it, she was sad, and then poof, like he was gone, and ultimately she came to be at peace with everything, even if there's still a small part of her that wonders, could I see him again, or I wonder what he's doing these days. He's still on her mind, is I guess the point. So I think it's cleverly written, and again, it's the kind of story song that I wouldn't be surprised to hear from ABBA. So yes, ultimately I wonder about the group, I wonder if this is kind of their main sound, or if, they do some different styles. Anytime I do a Lucky Dip, I'm always wondering, is this very reflective of this artist or band's material? Is this one of their flavors? Is this actually anomalous, where, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like the Cardigans, what's the love me, say that you love me? I remember hearing that. It was catchy. It was like an earworm, as they would say in more recent years. I enjoyed it. And then I remember talking to someone who knew their work more broadly, and he was like, here's the thing. It's a cool song, but it's really not what their sound is. Like, it's really different than most of their other work, and I was fascinated to learn that. So when I do these lucky dips, sometimes I am curious about that. In any case, shout out to Chafic. Let me know what you think of the tune, and I will see you next time. Peace.